Sí se puede. Hello everyone, my name is Cesar and today I'm going to present to you and to my audience Cesar Chavez's speech called Nomination Address for Governor Jerry Brown. He delivered this speech in July 14 of 1976. Cesar Chavez, as we all know, is a U.S. organizer, labor leader, and he also was in favor of the farm workers, and he funded the National Farm Workers Association. In July 14 of 1976, when he delivered his speech, was supposed to nominate Brown for president, but he violated all the expectations that people were trying to receive from him. The speaker's purpose in this speech was to inform to persuade that Jerry Brown was the right option as president for the country, but instead what he said in his speech was that he was promoting the poor and helping the farm workers. He called upon the nation, and as he stated in the speech, in line 5, work to improve the lives of the poor. He spoke about farm workers and their supporters. Chavez did not appeal to politicians in his audience. In today's speech, I'm going to inform my audience about the historical context, the rhetorical strategies, and the legacy that Cesar Chavez's speech left to our country. I will start by giving some historical events. One of the historical events that occurred in the speech was that during an election campaign that was unique in the history of the American politics, as Jensen said in his book in page 44. This Watergate scandal led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon in 1974. Also because of the Watergate scandal, people were stressed out about all the dishonesty and the corruptions that were occurring in Washington, D.C. at that time. This helped the candidacy of Jimmy Carter, but liberals did not like him, so Jerry Brown entered to the campaign, but it was too late for his nomination. So for this reason, Brown asked his friend Cesar Chavez to deliver his message to the U.S. Chavez did totally something different in the speech. He said his opinions and established his beliefs about the poor and about the farm workers. Chavez violated the rules of the convention speech, but he reflected all his hopes and beliefs. Based on his speech text, Chavez said, "Right now we have millions of people unable to find work. That inability to find work destroys the spirit. We have men, women, and youth who are skilled, who have energy and ideals, looking for work, and all they get are hands out." This reflects that even though he said the purpose was to convince the audience to select Jerry Brown for president, Chavez instead took the chance so that he could reflect all his needs about the poor and about all the farm workers. He even asked rhetorical questions so that what could have more purpose than working to end with the narcotics? What would be more joyful than working to restore and preserve the sacredness of land? The main organizational pattern that Chavez used in his speech was narrative and problem and solution solving. In line 3 in his speech, he mentioned, "There's a great task to be done in this nation. First, we need to set a goal. We have to give people a sense of purpose." And then in line 4, he said, "There's a great deal to do. We need to construct instead of destroy. We need to inspire and hope in the people for the future." Chavez used personal narrative to connect with other ideas that were facts, and both patterns mentioned him well throughout this speech. Next, another technique that he used to set and to give credibility to the audience was that he was using a good tone of voice. He was reflecting all what he thought to the audience, and he was maintaining a good eye contact too. That's why his delivery of his speech was a little bit more credible and people started to believe all what he was saying. Cesar Chavez also used personal narratives and wise sayings to convey his points, as I already mentioned in the visual aid that I showed you in the beginning. Si se puede. Throughout all his speech, he kind of sometimes said all those wise sayings that his mother once taught him. Although Chavez used another form of supporting material to make his point through, the use of all his wise sayings helped him a lot to make a better connection. Some of the memorable pathos or emotions used by Chavez was that he was very emotional throughout his speech and courageous. An example that I can tell you is that in line 6 he mentioned, "Hands out." Imagine how stifling that can be to the spirit. There is so much meaningful work to be done and so many unemployed. He showed his patriotism and he showed all the courage that he had to help the country. Lastly, I'm going to establish some of the legacy that he mentioned in his speech. Okay. He gave a good thing and good points to the legacy. He helped the country to think about all the problems, even though he did not establish a good thing in his speech, because he did not mention a lot of Jerry Brown's goals, but he did in fact said things that were actually occurring in the U.S. He was telling a lot of things about the poor and about the farm workers, hoping to receive a little bit of help. So I think that's a legacy. Like he said some things about all his beliefs and about his hopes. So I think everyone will remember that in this speech. Instead of doing what he was supposing to, he broke a little bit the expectations, but he still conveyed all his main points. Today, I have completed my job to inform you about historical context, about the legacy, and about the rhetorical strategies that Chavez used in his speech. I hope you have enjoyed the presentation and that you have learned a little bit more about Chavez during that time and about what was happening in the U.S. Before concluding, I want to leave you with a quote from Cesar Chavez. He was Cesar Chavez. Again, I want to show you a visual aid of himself, Cesar Chavez, and he said, "Presentation of one's own culture does not require contempt or disrespect for other cultures." Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed the presentation.